Before we really get into the meat of things, I just want to make something clear. I'm not even going to try and pronounce this level's name. I'm just going to refer to it as SS, which leads me into my first fun fact. That's what the game refers to this level as in the files. This is, in fact, because I was too lazy to copy the level's name as the ID. For those of you who already know this isn't my level, you might be saying, wait, but why didn't the person who made this do that? Well, simple, they didn't know how to. It was my responsibility, and I just called it SS because I was lazy. I paint such a good image of myself some days. Anyways, as I mentioned, this level is not one that I made. Before the game's full release onto Steam, we held a small creator contest. Levels were judged both in a private vote and a public one. This distinction was basically quality control. It was an extra step where, if I personally thought a level was abysmal, I could veto it for any reason that I wanted because I was the only person in the private vote. This was important because any and all winners would get their levels into the game. And in the end, unfortunately, I had to veto first place. Now this level was actually third place in the public vote, so why am I bringing up the fact that I cancelled first place? Well, simple, both levels were actually kinda similar, and that's one of the big reasons that first place was vetoed and this one wasn't. But if the other level got first, why did that one get vetoed and not this one? Surely wasn't that one better? Well, no, not really. It was a fine level. You can still play it on the Steam Workshop, in fact. It's named Dunstable. But one of the things about this contest was that we wanted to include levels built by the community. I mean, that's why it's a community contest, right? One of our criteria for a level to get into the game was that the level be visually distinct, visually interesting, and Dunstable just wasn't that. It was a flat, straight line that couldn't be shrunk with autoblocks due to its awkward spacing, and the train schedules just weren't interesting and vibrant enough to make it into the game. Meanwhile, this level, which was around the same difficulty, was much more vibrant. The version in the game has been edited and modified to look better, but the general idea is still the same. While it's not the exact level that was submitted for the contest, it is still a faithful recreation that keeps the creator's vision completely intact. For Dunstable, we just couldn't do that, and thus it was removed from the game. If people are interested in hearing more on Dunstable, maybe I'll talk about it a little more in the future and do a full video on that level specifically. But I think for now we've done enough talking about a completely different level that's not even in the game. SS was submitted by a user in the Discord server by the name of Francesco. If my memory serves me well, this is another level that was based on a real location. I don't remember for sure, but I'm pretty certain that it was. Despite it being the easiest real challenge in the game, it's also one of the longest, sitting at a whopping 50 minutes. When I first saw this level, I was actually skeptical that it was just going to be boring. And, well, honestly, I was somewhat right. The conflict is very spaced out as there are only 16 trains in total, throughout the 50 minutes. The single track routes, which had a lot of potential, were only really used once apiece. There was a lot of potential for this level to do a bunch of crazy things, and it wasn't really used. Despite this, the level did a great job of capturing the feel of a city. Not one that is bustling with traffic, but not one that is completely barren and void of it either. While I do wish the potential could have been used a little more in this map, I believe this was still a great inclusion and I'm glad we have it in the game. It also could have used a few extra signals in a couple of places, but oh well, this looks fine. Unfortunately, this is the only level we've ever gotten from this creator. While I do believe that the original piece was a bit bloated and needed to be shrunk down to look a little better for the game, the timetable was unedited, and the layout was still fun and interesting. But this is the only map that they've ever published. I think if they had spent the time to learn the editor and try and make more maps, we would have had another great creator from the early days of this game. That timeline, however, never came to fruition, and here we are with their one and only stage. A strong start that will forever stay within the history of this game. Anyways, that's all I've got for you people today. Sorry this one's so short. I've been focusing a ton on Rush Hour. We're trying to get it out within the next week, after all. While I love making these YouTube videos, right now I really need to focus more on making maps for that new game mode. Because of course we need new official maps for a new game mode. In total, there will be somewhere between 4 and 5. Currently 2 are finished. I'm working on a third based on Tokyo, and a fourth is also on the back burner. I'm unsure I'll be able to finish a 5th in time, but if I can, you'll see it for sure. Anyways, that's all for now. Cheers, folks.